What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the Reddit Asks Us podcast. It is great to be back and here with you guys again for another entertaining week of the show. Welcome to episode 71, everybody. Episode 71. Good to have everybody back. And remember, if you're on YouTube, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever else you get your podcasts, make sure to leave us a rating and review. You can find us on Instagram and TikTok at Reddit Asks Us Podcast. We post new clips of the show every week, but not actually because I've been totally slacking on that, but that's okay. There's old clips you can watch there, and there's a lot of them, so if you wanted to get a good idea of what the show is kind of like, well, maybe not now because I'm doing these solo ones, but the older ones, you can get a good look of what those ones are like. And guys, things have just been so crazy busy recently. It's just been a lot. So I'm toying around with the idea of getting some like new different type of content out there, but it might just be a little bit because I just need some time over this Christmas break to decompress. Don't worry, you guys will still get your content, but I just need some time to, decompress and focus on some other things and spend time with family and all of the usual holiday break sort of activities after school is being over, kind of getting a chance to settle down a little bit and spend some time just without any sorts of stress and just kind of just lay back, spend time with family and do all that sort of stuff. So yeah, anyways, welcome back to the Reddit Asks Us podcast, everybody. I'm so happy you guys are tuning in, and I'm so happy new people are tuning in every week. It's so awesome to see the numbers. The numbers are climbing all the time, so it's super cool to see that every week. We got some new listeners. So welcome to the podcast, everybody. Episode 71. Episode 71, everybody. What brings happiness without spending money? This is a great question. I thought I would do something. I felt in the mood today to do something a little bit more upbeat and a little bit more positive because we're heading into the holidays. I might do a holiday themed episode next week, by the way, but we're heading into the holidays, and I wanted to kind of get everybody into a positive vibe. And man, things are getting more and more expensive these days, and people can be stressed that, you might have to spend money, like go out to have fun. And you know what? Life is an objective thing, and it doesn't require money for you to be able to have a good time. And I know it can feel or seem like that way because we live in a society that basically you have to pay to do everything. But there are still lots of things that subtle things and small things and even big things too that you can do that bring about happiness without having to spend a dime. Okay, well, our first comment comes from Milwaukee Pasta Bandit. Having a really good conversation with someone you haven't talked to in a while when you're feeling lonely. And so this is a reply from MIXL or Mixel Music. Along that same line, I met this girl online a few months ago, and we hit it off pretty well. Found out she lives across the country, so we planned for me to fly out to see her for the weekend. I was extremely anxious that it wasn't going to go well, but damn, we just clicked so well in the entire weekend. It felt really great. Yeah, that wouldn't have been that would have been too great if things would have been awkward. Actually, I watched a TV show a while ago. I can't remember what it was called. I think it was something on Netflix. But there was this girl who worked as basically like an OnlyFans girl. There was this guy that had been her most loyal sort of patron or something. I don't know what you would call it, subscriber. And so the whole idea was, and they were from Australia, so the whole idea was for him to fly out to see her and like spend a weekend or something with her. and it sounded like a great idea, but when he got there, things just got super awkward, and they spent this time together. It was like a weekend or something too, and she has like a boyfriend, so she can't she's not looking to get into a relationship with this guy, especially because he's like a subscriber for her. OnlyFans or it was a very awkward experience, and I could tell that the guy was and both the girl were very, very uncomfortable the whole time, and they struggled to make conversation, and it was it was weird. So I'm glad that didn't happen to you. I'm glad that didn't happen to you, Mr. Mixel Music. But yeah, I just love this comment so much. This happened to me actually recently. I was kind of in a little bit of a, little bit of a dip in the life as life goes. Life has its ups and its downs. And a couple weeks ago, I was in a little bit of a down, and I had a friend, an amazing friend of mine, a great friend of mine, somebody who I consider family, give me a call kind of out of nowhere. And it was really nice to talk to them for a while. And I felt it was so nice. It was so spontaneous, and it was so genuine. And I honestly felt very heard and listened to, and that person had really cared for me and was reaching out because they wanted to, help, and they wanted to contribute to make sure I was feeling all right, and just look after my well-being. And it was so nice to get that call, because the conversation was so great. It was so productive and so understanding, and it was very emotional and empathetic. It was so awesome. It was just really great. But as anybody who's been listening to the show for a long time knows, I like to have conversations. I'm a conversation person. That's just the way I am. I like to have stimulating, motivating, and productive conversations. And so, having great and moving conversations for me is so important. It's a central sort of thing in my life. And it really helps me. And that's one of the reasons why I think I struggled during COVID, was because I had such a difficult time communicating with people, especially because a lot of my friends play video games, and I'm not really a video game guy. And I don't play them, but they got this chance to kind of have a subject matter to talk about and engage in sort of a group activity together all the time. So they were kind of constantly socializing with each other and kind of getting, it's not the same as in person, but they were getting a sort of socialization and conversation. And I really wasn't having that. And I struggled because I wasn't talking to anybody really except for my family, and I was struggling socially. And I think I'm still, learning how to socialize with people and actually be normal and integrate myself back into society. But, conversations are so important to me, and I found that it can seriously change my day when I have a really great flowing conversation with someone who, especially like a good friend who I can really relate to, and we can work through things together. And yeah, I find that those conversations they almost feel like a breath of fresh air. You are removing some what's the expression? It's like a load off of your back. You know what I mean? Because we get so caught up, in things that happen to ourselves in our lives. And one of the at least for me, one of the most difficult things during COVID was the fact that I was struggling through something, and I was having a hard time, but I felt it was very difficult to express that to other people. And I had a difficult time actually having conversations about my life and my feelings, and it was not a great time for me. Excuse me. I just woke up from a nap, so sorry guys. And I'm always yawning during this podcast. I don't know why I'm always yawning. Sorry. I gotta cut that out. I gotta cut out all the yawning. But yeah, I nowadays, now that I'm like starting to socialize a little bit more, it's become a lot easier to have conversations with people, and I feel a lot more at ease. And the conversations that I feel like I'm having more recently have been more productive, and I've been working on my conversational skills, guys. I can't lie. Like, I might seem like I do podcasts and all this stuff, but it's a conversation. Having conversations for me is a learning process. I'm learning to actually have conversations with people in person again, and try to like normal conversations, and it's been it's a challenge. It's difficult. So the next one we have here is from user Farts and Darts. When a pet just flops down next to you, completely trusting. This has happened to me a couple times, and it's because I'm allergic. Sorry, I should preface that. Just the only reason it's happened to me a couple times is because I'm allergic to like cats and dogs and basically anything that has fur. I know it's a bummer. Sorry, guys, but it's happened to me a couple times. Like I'll go over to someone's house and they have a pet and like I'm not gonna like die being next to them, but it's such a rewarding feeling because okay, I'm not sure if this has any truth behind it, but I have heard things such as when if a pet or an animal or a dog or something or a cat, they have this like sort of second nature about them that they're able to basically kind of read the vibes of people and be able to kind of decipher who, like if somebody is a little bit of like an off type of person, like a bad person or a weird person or like a strange, and in a bad way, not in like there's good strange, there's good weird, that's different. But what I'm talking about is like bad weird, like creepy and menacing and sort of aggressive or violent or something like that. Those types of characteristics and behaviors. I've heard that animals have this sort of second nature about them where they can sense that those behaviors and attitudes in people, and they won't like certain people because of those traits that they have. And it's so nice that, because man, I feel like I'm constantly having this inner dialogue with myself where I'm trying to evaluate my behavior and make sure that I'm acting in a way that promotes me being a nice person and a good person. And the pet thing is something you like can't control. Like it's just a pet, and pets have, well, and it's not just a pet, but it's an animal, and animals, don't necessarily have the same conscious inclinations as we do, and they don't necessarily reflect and think about their lives in the same ways that we do. But it's so nice because I feel like pets are so grounding. Animals and dogs and cats bring us back to earth and bring us back to the feeling of being human. And when a pet kind of does that to you, or an animal kind of does that to you, it reminds you that it's like, okay, relax, like you're fine, everything's all right. You're acting out of your true and inner self, and those motivations are pure and have positive and well intentions. And there's a couple specific times I remember, and there's a family friend of ours who has a dog, and I mean, I don't really spend a whole lot of time with this dog, but every time I go over, this dog will sit down somewhere, and then throughout the night or throughout the time that I'm there, the dog will kind of slowly make its way over to me and like sit next to me or cuddle up next to me and kind of go for a nap. And I'm just like, oh, so cute. And at least what my family friends tell me is that is not really super common for their dog. Their dog doesn't really like everybody. And when that happens to me, I'm like, oh, I feel like the chosen one. I feel that it's so nice to not know that I'm letting out any bad energy, and that this dog, this pure, lovely animal, wants to come and sit beside me and choose me to kind of hang out with. And I love that. And this that happens to me sometimes with cats and dogs. This happens to everybody, and it is such a like I said, rewarding feeling, because it reaffirms your groundedness in being yourself and your positivity. I mean, maybe I'm reading into it a little bit too deep, but that's just how I feel. So, and it's nice to know that maybe the pet thinks that you're a good person, So that is always a positive. So this next comment comes from Miss Anthrop. Sitting by the river watching wildlife. Personally for me, and I love this one because I'm like I grew up, I wouldn't say like nowadays I'm really not much of a camper. I don't really do much camping or anything like that. But growing up, I did spend a lot of time in nature because my parents, my dad is more outdoorsy than my mom, but my mom is still quite outdoorsy and likes to get out and be in nature and do things and be connected with nature. And I think that those experiences really helped shape my love for the natural world and for spending time in the natural world, and actually how spending time in that world can help to foster a really great sense of oneness and of continuity between yourself and your relationship with the world. And especially because, man, our society is so fast paced, and everybody, and like there's like from the moment you can like start to have a consciousness, you're already in school and you're already being assignments and this and that, and life is just throwing all these things your way. And you can sometimes, and before you know it, you're in, you're like me, like you're in university or you're in college and you're trying to figure out what you want to do in your life, and you're trying to explore different patterns of interest or paths of interest for yourself. And that's fine, but what the problem is that fast pace of life, the way we live in our modern society, can be so stressful. And what I find is that when I go outside and I just like sit and watch a river flow, or if I sit and watch birds, or just breathe in the air, and even here in Nova Scotia, which is actually super awesome, going out to the ocean, going out to the harbor, but just being and observing, kind of taking in what nature has to offer and breathing in the air, I find it fills me with a sense of, there is my life and the things that are going on in my life, and then there's the world. There is it creates a sort of separation. It allows me to, disassociate myself from, in a good way, from a lot of the external things that are going on in my life, and kind of sit and reflect and think about all the ways that I'm related to a tree or an ocean or anything, or a river or a leaf. Like think about all the ways that I have inherent connections with the world around me, and start to disassociate myself from my social and quote unquote professional life, and more so start to associate myself with nature and with my connection to the world, which is very important, because as people, we do have priorities and we do have things that we have to do. And I think we can get so caught up in the pace of life, and that we don't really recognize that, you have a fundamental sort of relationship with everything that exists, and that relationship is something that should be cherished, and that relationship is something that is special. So when we don't stop for a second to think about, and actually we should probably think about that stuff more, given the fact that we're causing a lot of harm to our planet, but when you do start to relate yourself a little bit more to the world, it helps to shape your perspective and think about, okay, well, life is beautiful, the world is beautiful, and we should, it's okay if I'm feeling stressed right now, because I can sit here and I can just have this experience for what it is. And that's great. It allows me to slow down my pace, and, have a little bit of a different sort of lifestyle, and have a chance to kind of decompress. So I love that one. Shout out to Miss Anthrop. So this one that comes from user Angel Fiery Rain. A really good hug. This one is awesome. I'm a huge hugger. I love a good hug. And to be honest, I've actually kind of mastered the hug. Just kidding. I haven't mastered the hug, but I have tried over the years to like find the best methods for because when you hug someone and it's just like, it's weird, something doesn't feel right. It's like, and it's not that you necessarily have any, bad. Actually, it can work out in like not your favor when it's somebody who you would like to give a nice hug to, and then it's just awkward, and your like hands are in the wrong place, and you just kind of like feel weird, and it just doesn't quite have that spark, that magicalness of a solid, loving, just great tight hug. And so at least this is kind of the tips that I have acquired, and this kind of goes with how I tend to hug my relationship counterparts, is at least this for me, and especially even when people aren't like shorter than me, I tend to find that the best method is I try to make sure that if you want to be like the controller of the hug and show somebody that you really want to hug them, I try to make my arms go underneath and wrap around them so that their arms kind of go over top of me. And then I make sure that I wrap them, and I don't squeeze them too tightly. You can squeeze them tightly, but a lot of times people will be like, ugh, oh. But and sometimes some people like that, but not all the time. Just a great solid fulfilling hug. You put your arms underneath the other person's arms, and you just give a nice, tight, firm squeeze on that person. And I find that those hugs are the best, and they're so, because a hug is a way, I feel, to physically express emotion. It is a, and this is, I guess it is kind of just a fact, but yeah, like a hug is definitely a way to physically express an emotion. And there's a certain energy that you can get when you hug somebody that I feel like you don't really get in a lot of other ways. Like, especially like a kiss. A kiss is a little bit more intimate, that's something that it's different. A kiss is different. And there are not really any other physical thing. Like cuddling is something you can do, but that's something you can do. It's different, right? Like that's something you do it feels a little bit more intimate. You know what I mean? You just cuddle with everybody. And then, yeah, there's really not a whole lot you can do after that. And a hug is such a great mutual way to show that you have an affection for somebody. But it doesn't have to be like a person who's in a relationship. It could be, your mom, your sister, your brother, your dad. Like it could be your aunt, your uncle, and grandparents. You hug everybody, right? And that's so important. And the best hugs, best meaningful hugs, because I like I just said, I feel like the hug is just such a great way to convey a certain physical relay of emotion, and sometimes you miss people and you just want to hug them, and you want to hold them tight and let them know that you really care about them, and that you want to express to them how much that they are mean to you and are important to you, within that hug. And also, one thing I found a good hug for guys is, you put your right arm above and your left arm below, and you kind of hug on a diagonal. That one works a lot for guys. A lot of the time, the underneath one is a little bit is a little bit of a more of an intimate hug. Doesn't have to be, but it can be. I find that and always the way that I like to hug my guys is, I dap them up with my hand, and then we kind of embrace each other with you bring your other hand in. That one's a classic. Or you kind of dap each other up, and then you go in for like an actual full sort of hug. That one always kind of works. And a good hug goes a long way, my friends. A good hug goes a long way. Okay, can you ever remember a time in your past where you can think back and you really, really needed some physical affection because you maybe were feeling lonely or sad or down or out, and you just received the best, solid, act of affection with a great hug from somebody you really, really care about, and somebody who understands what you're going through, or at least they don't have to understand, but they're trying. It's those great, great moments that are so, so important. And actually, this comes from the Smalley Institute. Hugs can lower your risk of heart disease, fight infections, stress reduction, fight fatigue, boost the immune system, ease depression, and can help with feelings of loneliness. And I'm sure we can all relate to feelings of loneliness, especially over the pandemic. Holy fucking shit, everybody. The pandemic is some real shit, dog. It is some real shit, and it is affecting everybody. And it's something that, especially when it comes to relationships and connecting with one another, like in the age of COVID, hugs aren't incentivized as an action to do to somebody. You don't even want to shake anyone's hand anymore nowadays. And it's, to be honest, I don't really like that, because I do appreciate the physical. I mean, I understand why we have to do that sort of stuff, and I'm not saying it's not justified, but I'm not going to sit here and say that I don't miss shaking someone's hand or hugging somebody. I don't. Those are acts of respect and affection, and I think that they're important in human socialization and conversation and generally socializability with people, and they stand as sort of cultural behavioral motifs that we have that are symbolic. So I do miss those actions, and yeah, like, so try to get yourselves a hug. I read something about a 10-second hug will do all these things. It can help with the stress reduction, and something about heart inflammation or something. Oh yeah, heart disease or something. So get yourself a hug, folks, and get yourself a solid hug. So the next one, oh yeah, whoo. The next one comes from user No Struggle 8242. A good shower. For me, a nice hot shower. I mean, there was somebody who commented back and said, and there was actually a couple people who commented back and said something about how that water costs money, which is true, but no one said it has to be a super long shower. I don't know. I shower for a short amount of time. Even my long showers are like 10 minutes. That's probably the longest I can really, 10, 15 minutes, probably like really stay in the shower. I know some people who could stay in the shower for an hour, and they would, and like my sister is that type of person. She can stay in the shower for so long, and I just get bored, even if I have music. But that doesn't negate from the fact that a good shower hits so hard, especially with some good music. Oh my goodness. I actually, this recently, and I don't know if this works for anybody else. Maybe this is just a me thing, but you know when you go to the hairdresser and they put your head in that like tub thing, and then they kind of like put the shower head sort of thing through your hair, and it's just like, and through on your scalp and stuff, and it just feels so good. It just dawned on me the other day, out of nowhere, that I can do this too. So in the shower, sometimes I take off the head, or I change the head to like a powerful setting, like like, because the regular one is kind of, and the level 2 is, and it's like this sort of laser beam lightning focus on your head, on your scalp. I'll usually take off that thing and kind of run that through my hair and run that through my scalp, and oh my god, I have to say, my friends, is a euphoric feeling. And I don't know if that happens to everybody, but for me, I get a sense of just, oh my god, it's so cleansing, and it's warm, and it feels so good. I love it. It's a very relaxing experience. It's that nice hot water, and I don't know what it is. Something about the hair or the scalp or something. I think it's maybe sensitive. I don't know, but yeah, running that shower head through my head and through my hair feels so good. And excuse me. And a good shower is so nice. A nice hot shower. It can hit, especially when you're feeling a little stressed, or you just kind of want to take some time away. Listening to some music in the shower hits really hard. So savor those moments, my friends. Ooh, I love this next one. So this next one comes from CandySaver01. That one cousin, instant uncontrollable laughter when I see them. I had to sit on the other side of a counter on the floor just to eat my french fries one time without laughing. We could not look at each other at all. Big shout out to my cousin Xander. Man, when Xander and I get together, we're like peas in a pod. Xander and I are very different people, but we have developed that sort of cousin friendship. And so Xander is my cousin, and I don't want to I'm not going to tell you too much about him, because I don't want to dox him or anything like that. But he's such a great guy, such a pure human being, and he's taught me so much about. See, one thing I love about my cousins, so I'm just kind of going on a rant, but I feel like a lot of people can feel this way about their cousins too. And one thing I love about my cousin Xander is that he is very down to earth, and he brings me back to center, and he reminds me. We'll have conversations sometimes, and he'll remind me of things that that there's a bright side to things, and that things aren't as complicated sometimes as we lead them out to be. And he's so good at that. He's so good at kind of giving me the lowdown of situations, being like, hey, did you ever think about it maybe like this, or that person was thinking about that? And I'm like, he's like, you're getting in your own head too much, thinking about it just like this. I mean, there's nothing wrong with this, and there's nothing wrong with that. And he's a very affirming person, very positively affirming person, and spending time with him, and we just laugh so much. We have a lot of things in common, and we both love music, and we connect a lot over great music. And I can't wait to see Xander again. It's been so long since I've seen Xander. It might have been Because with COVID and everything, man, it's been tough. Jeez. It might be over a year since I've seen him. Oof. I'm sorry, Xander. We'll have to link up, man. We'll have to link up. I mean, I don't know if I doubt he's listening to this. He listens. I think sometimes he might listen, but everybody's got that one cousin, though. Everybody's got that one cousin, man, where you guys just click. Things are cool. Oh my goodness. This is a little anecdotal story about every time that me and my cousin would see each other. So when we were kids, we're both like, you know, social kids, and we'd have you know, very positive kids and very happy and outgoing. But whenever we'd see each other, we would just get really shy and nervous. And then we would kind of just be like, oh, okay, like, you know, this, and I'm, you know, be like, you know, kind of like, oh, I don't know what's going on here, because it's, you know, whatever, and it'd be kind of awkward. And then within a half an hour, we were chopping down trees in his, like, dead trees in his backyard with a machete. So that, like, that's kind of the hijinks that we would get up to. And it was so weird, because we would start off every time that would see each other, because we saw each other maybe a couple times a year, and every time we would see each other, things would be like kind of shy and awkward for the first little bit, and then we would start hanging out, getting into some fun stuff, and we'd like go shoot a bow and arrow, or he's got this big sort of his parents have this kind of a little bit more secluded property, so we can do that sort of stuff, and I would always sometimes bring my toys and show him, and like an airsoft gun or something fun for us to do, and yeah, those are a lot of really great memories. Okay. I think that we're going to wrap it up there for today, everybody. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'm hoping that you guys are liking the podcast. This one had more shorter answers. Maybe next time I might choose something with a little bit more storytelling. I like the storytelling. But in case anyone's wondering, because I know you guys do listen to the show every week, I'm doing better and a lot better. And I've had so many great conversations over the past, you know, week or so or 2 weeks that have really helped move things forward, and I'm feeling back to myself, and I'm feeling a lot more positive lately, and a lot more appreciative and thankful, actually. So I'm really excited to go and spend time with my family over Christmas, because it's and my friends too. I'm really excited to see everybody, because I really need to let everybody know in my life how much I appreciate them, and kind of get back into you know, my regular pace of life, and there's been a lot of things that have happened recently that have affirmed my sense of appreciation for the things that I am allowed to and privileged to have in my life. So I'm unbelievably thankful, and I'm very, very excited to move forward in life and get things rolling, and live with something contributing more to the purpose to why I believe that I'm here. So thank you guys so much for tuning into the Reddit Asks Us podcast. If you're on YouTube, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever else you get your podcast, make sure to leave us a rating and a review. You can find us on Instagram and TikTok at Reddit Asks Us podcast. We post new clips of the show every week. I will see you guys next week. Peace out, my lovely friends. Goodbye.